It's July 14th, 2018. It's late at night. I can't sleep.
Request from Congress, quote, although Congress has a clearly legitimate interest in determining how the Department enforces statutes, congressional inquiries during the pendency of the matter pose an inherent threat to the integrity of the Department's law enforcement and litigation functions, unquote. Therefore, the question being directed at the witness is out of order. The witness's declination to answer it as against the instructions of the FBI pursuant to FBI policy, which is necessary so as not to allow us to subvert an ongoing criminal investigation. He is right. The judge should not answer the question.
The gentleman has not stated a valid point of order. Nonetheless, the United States Supreme Court has recognized that it is unquestionably the duty of all citizens to cooperate with the Congress in its efforts to obtain the facts needed for intelligent legislative action. It is their unremitting obligation to respect the dignity of the Congress and its committees and to testify fully with respect to matters within the province of proper investigation.
Mr. Chairman, Mr. Chairman, you know, or we all know, that if we were to ask a question of a witness about a military secret, if we were to ask him, how does the H-bomb work? He could not answer that question. This is the same thing.
I like this. I like the way this is all happening. See, you're going to get to see masterful work within the law, how it's written, and how these guys know how to work around it. They will not answer anything. They will make an argument about anything but what they're actually arguing about. It's perfect eluding of illusions. It really is. So you've got to be kidding me. They're fighting about this question they don't want answered because I'll just let you hear it, but long story short, the guy won't answer any questions because of the ongoing investigation. So he keeps throwing it out there. I can't answer that question because I was instructed by the FBI not to answer anything that could, is about the Russia collusion deal. Yet, everybody that's grilling him for answers, he gives them the same response. I can't answer it, I can't answer it, I can't answer it. Doesn't say a word about it. When he gets to a Democrat, this is hilarious. He answers every one of her questions because it's all about Donald Trump and the collusion and how Hillary and the Clintons have been defaced. They've just been, they're the ones on the witch hunt, or the witch hunt is for them, not Trump, according to her. But this cat answers every question, and it's all related to Russia collusion and Donald Trump.
That is a classification issue, not an issue of whether or not this is a valid question for which
I appeal the ruling of the chair.
Watch how slick these guys are. You have to know your rights. You have to know the law. Otherwise, these guys will step on you and roll over you. There'll be nothing left. You'd just be standing there like, brrr, what the hell just happened? Oh, and I'm guilty? Yeah, watch.
He's ruled it's not a point of order. That is not a ruling. Mr. Struck,
Mr. Chairman, I insist on my point of order, and I insist on
Mr. Struck,
appealing the ruling of the chair.
Mr. Struck, knowing the advice...
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Point of order. I believe there's a point of order that's been raised, and you've ruled we have it right now. Mr.
That
Nadler.
is not a valid point of order. The chair
You can't
has
just
already...
read-
This is a sneaky bastard.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Struck,
Mr. Chairman, I appeal the ruling of the chair that you have just made on whether
you have not stated a valid point of
and that is
order.
your ruling, and I appeal it.
That is not an appealable...
Point of order. Yes, it is, Mr. Chairman. Appealing the ruling of the chair is exactly what he's requesting. He's appealing it. That requires the vote to either sustain it or overrule it.
The gentleman from New York has not cited a rule of the House that is being violated. Therefore, it is not a point of order. That's your
He's right.
appeal that ruling of the chair.
Mr. Chairman, is it not appropriate to also interject the attorney-client privilege, which cannot be overridden, and is a rule of the House to the extent that witnesses have the right to an attorney-client privilege in this House? And that is what this witness is asserting, attorney-client privilege, and he has been advised not to answer the
gentleman will suspend.
The gentleman. That is not a gentleman. I don't know what that was. I could tell you that Jackson Lee, Miss Jackson Lee, the gentleman will suspend. Now, they're in court. This is a hearing. Why is this woman sticking up she shouldn't be doing what she's doing. She's giving legal counsel advice for the man that was subpoenaed. She's speaking for him. You cannot speak for someone. You cannot do that. But it's amazing to me because now this is one trying to protect their own. The whole thing, when it comes out, you'll find it's been corrupt for so long, and it appears, just like Scripture says, these people are coming up right from inside the gates. We let them in.
what this witness is asserting, attorney-client privilege, and he has been advised not to answer
The
the
gentleman will suspend. The gentleman has not raised the attorney-client privilege. He has said that he's been instructed by the FBI not to answer the question.
That's right.
Now,
by lawyers.
he knows
Not his lawyers. The FBI's lawyers. Not his lawyers. And since when does a judge go against? See what I'm saying? They're going against their own. And they never once said lawyer-client privilege or client-lawyer privilege. They never said that. The defendant would be saying that. His attorney would be saying that. Not somebody up on this board.
he knows the advice I have just given him. If you would like, I'll restate it. But knowing this, will you answer the committee's question as directed, or do you refuse to answer the committee's question?
Point of parliamentary
The
inquiry.
ruling of the chair. That
Point of parliamentary
order was not in order.
Point of parliamentary inquiry, Mr. Chairman.
The gentleman from South Carolina has the time. A parliamentary inquiry is not in order during the gentleman's time. The chair is instructing the witness to answer the question, and the question to you is, Mr. Chairman, will you answer the committee's question as directed, or do you refuse to answer the committee's question?
Mr. Chairman, I move to adjourn.
Second.
You're not recognized for that purpose.
He said to adjourn. I mean, like, close it down. Shut it down.
Mr. Chairman, I think you have no choice but to recognize such a motion.
I do not have.
Are you just going to make up rules as we go along?
The motion is not in order during the time controlled by the gentleman from South Carolina.
I appeal that ruling of the chair.
Mr. Struck, will you
I
answer?
appeal your ruling of the chair that my motion to adjourn is not in order.
The gentleman is not in order.
That may be, but I appeal your ruling.
The gentleman is not recognized. Knowing this, will you answer the committee's question as directed, or do you refuse to answer the committee's question?
Mr. Chairman, as you know, counsel for the FBI has directed me not to answer questions about the ongoing investigation. As you also know, counsel for the FBI is sitting here behind me. May I consult with them?
You may consult with your own counsel.
But I may not consult with the FBI's counsel?
Only with your own counsel.
Mr. Chairman, there's no basis for that. He can consult with the FBI counsel. He's an FBI
The gentleman
employee.
is not recognized.
And the chairman is not being proper.
The chairman is being proper.
We just can't be directed not to confer with his attorney.
But the FBI is not his attorney. His attorney is seated behind him. If
He's an employee of the FBI.
It's already done. He may do so.
And his attorney may consult with the FBI attorney?
Isn't the privilege that of the FBI, and should the FBI counsel be solicited on that point?
See, this is a big problem. If you guys haven't figured it out yet, it's seemingly this thing has gotten out of hand. What started out as it's kind of like this. So you got a baseball, you're playing around the backyard, you throw it through the neighbor's window. So instead of fessing up or just walking away, they had a better plan. Hey, how about we blame somebody else for this, and they'll never even look at us because we're the ones accusing them. This has backfired. Now there's multiple investigative teams. The FBI is the main one. The guy on the stand is the guy that drew up all the paperwork. He's the one that got caught texting F Trump. I'm going to take Trump down. We're not going to let this guy become president. But he's not biased. He leaves that at home. Not when he comes to work.
Mr. Chairman.
They're going to stumble. Because it's not often. I mean, you thought Watergate was big. Watergate ain't got nothing to do with this. Benghazi ain't got... That's the tiniest shred. These people are drug trafficking, sex trafficking, child pornographers. It's disgusting. They're all Luciferian. They're performing rituals on the earth all the time. All the time.
My counsel has reiterated that counsel for the FBI has directed that I may not answer that question.
Mr. Strzok.
Watch his face.
In a moment, we will continue with the hearing, but based on your refusal to answer the question, at the conclusion of the hearing, we will be recessing the hearing, and you will be subject to recall to allow the committee to consider proceeding with a contempt citation.
Point of order, Mr. Chairman. Will the committee also consider contempt for Mr. Bannon, who refused to answer Mr. Gowdy's questions when he was actually under subpoena?
That is not a proper point of order in this hearing.
Parliamentary inquiry.
Parliamentary inquiry.
The time is controlled by the gentleman.
Parliamentary inquiry.
A parliamentary inquiry is not in order where the gentleman from South Carolina controls the time.
Agent Strzok, just so the record's clear, because it's been a
No rules.
little while, I didn't ask you the content of those interviews. I didn't ask you the names of who you interviewed. I asked you whether or not you interviewed anyone from July the 31st.
He actually asked how many people had you interviewed in an 8-day time frame. That's what he asked. And the FBI won't let him answer it. They're saying that that's going to screw with the investigation. And it can mess it up. The problem is, it's Congress, it's the House of Representatives, it's these people actually can squash the FBI.
Till August the 8th. And I find it interesting that the FBI will tell us no interviews were conducted before July 31st. That apparently doesn't impact an ongoing probe, but between July 31st and August 8th, it does. Here's the good news. I already know the answer to it. I went and looked at the file. The first interview that I can find is on August the 11th of 2016, which is 11 days after it began, which makes me wonder, on August the 6th, so you hadn't interviewed anyone, you're investigating this alleged Russian collusion with the Trump campaign.
Watch his
You're the
face.
lead investigator. You originated the investigation. You're the point of contact. You drafted the document. And here you are before you've interviewed a civil solitary witness saying F Trump. Then that same day, your colleague, Lisa Page, wrote, maybe you're meant to protect the country from that menace. And you responded, I can protect the country at many levels. We're not even a week into an investigation that you originated, approved, were the contact for. You hadn't interviewed a single solitary soul until August 11th. And you're already promising to protect the country from that menace, Donald Trump. And then on August the 8th, you still hadn't interviewed anyone. You're 8 days into your Russian collusion with the Trump campaign investigation, and you got another text from your colleague, Lisa Page. Trump's not ever going to become president, right? Right? And you replied, no, he's not. We'll stop it. by the time you promised to stop him from becoming president on August the 8th, how many interviews had you conducted?
Mr. Gowdy, so two answers to that. One, with regard to how many interviews had or had not been conducted, I've been directed by counsel to the
Seriously.
FBI not to answer that question. Second, sir, I think it's important to take those texts in the context of how they were written and what they meant.
And someone may ask you that question, Agent Struck, but I didn't. I asked you how many people you interviewed before you wrote it. If you want to get into
That should not affect the case. Problem is, I mean, we're only talking about 8 days. They've been dealing with this for a while now. So what they're not telling you is that they're sweeping all kinds of child porn under the rug that they found in the computers. And on Hillary's computer with Huma Abedin. And from what I understand, an actual murder. And he's smack dab in the middle of it. And all his texts are making him look awful in front of the American people. And the fact that he won't answer this question, and this is nothing new. I've watched district attorneys, attorney generals refuse. Trey Gowdy asked one if something like if a kid stole a candy bar from a convenience store and walked out of the building, did he commit a crime? And they wouldn't answer. They just will not answer. That depends. What the situation, the scenario. Look, the candy bar left the store. These people twist everything. Ask yourself why. Why do they answer like this? Could you get away with this in court? And the answer to it actually is, you most likely could. You might not get it in the lower courts, but the higher you go up, this is the way they run things.
context, let one of my other colleagues do that with you. Here's what I want to know. Who's the he and he's not?
He is then candidate Trump.
So when you said no, Donald Trump's not, in connection with the question going to become president, what's the it?
Chairman
We'll
Gowdy,
stop it.
Watch this face.
Chairman Gowdy, that text needs to be taken in the context.
I'm asking, look, if you want to have a debate over a two-letter word, we're going to have to do that some other
He gets
time.
a little like
What
devilish.
and
look to
who
his
did you
face.
mean by it?
Mr. Gowdy, as I've stated, that text was written late at night in shorthand.
I don't care when it was written out. I don't care whether it was longhand, cursive. I don't care about any of that. I want to know what it meant, Agent Struck.
It would be his candidacy for the
It wasn't
presidency,
that
and my
tough.
sense that the American
It's not that
population
tough.
would not vote him into office.
Right. Well, we hadn't gotten to the will yet.
Well, I'm trying
Your
to cut to the
testimony
chase,
is
explain the text.
The
I
will
wrote
is the
it.
American people. Is that right? That's your testimony. The will stop it. You were speaking on behalf of the American people. Is that correct?
Mr. Gowdy, what my testimony is, and what I said during extensive asking of this question during my prior interview is, I don't recall writing that text. But I
You
can
deny
tell
writing
you,
the text.
what I can tell you is that text in no way suggested that I or the FBI would take any action to influence the candidacy.
Agent Struck, that is a fantastic answer to a question nobody asked.
Yeah, Mr. Gowdy, you asked
My
what
question to you is the will.
We're going to be permitted to answer the
You
question
said-
posed?
They've got like 70 people they
We look
gotta
forward to that.
get through questioning him.
So your testimony.
His time has
a couple of
expired,
weeks
Mr.
ago-
Chairman.
Your
Like 2.5
testimony a couple of
minutes.
weeks- It's going to be tough for me to get through it if I keep getting interrupted. Your testimony a couple of weeks ago was the we meant the American people, which I found confusing because on November the 7th, which is the day before the election, you said this. You were concerned that those same American people that you were speaking on behalf of might actually elect Donald Trump president. So you said, OMG, this is effing terrifying. I think we know what effing means. I'm pretty sure we have OMG down too. What was terrifying about those same American people you trusted to stop him in August, not stopping him in November? What was so terrifying about that, Agent Struck?
Mr. Gowdy, I do not have a copy of the transcript. We have not been provided that transcript.
It's your text. It's not the transcript, it's your text.
Mr. Gowdy, what I would say in that is, one, I was not referring to the American electorate at all. The American electorate I respect, and their decisions and their right to vote is absolutely a cornerstone of our democracy. So at no time did I insult or call into question the judgment or the
At no point. Can't you tell I'm a good guy? Can't you tell I would never do anything like this?
The power of the American electorate. What I was expressing in that text is my personal belief and my personal sense of how I saw and what I believed in the potential upcoming
And
administration.
see, that's what I find so confounding, because in August you blamed the we on the American people, that the American people would stop it, because you don't want it to be you and Lisa
Mr.
Page,
Chairman,
and you don't want it to be the
I'll try
FBI.
to give him 5 minutes to answer questions. We have indulged this harassment 9 minutes.
The
This
chair,
is the Judiciary and the Oversight Committee. I thought
the gentleman will suspend. The chair, in agreement with the rank.
See her face? This is hilarious, actually. I mean, this goes right back to the Bible. In the latter days, in the end times, in the end days, in those days, whatever you want to call it, however he says it, because it's plastered all through there. He says, your rulers will have the minds of children, and they're going to behave like them. And they are.
Ranking members of both committees agreed that there would be liberality in the questioning by the chairman and the ranking members of each committee. The gentleman will continue.
What I find
And
confounding,
Mr. Chairman, we
Agent Strzok,
expect that liberality on every one of our questionings.
what I find confounding, Agent Strzok, is you were counting on the American people. That was the we you referenced in August when you said, we'll stop it. But the American people didn't stop it. He actually won. So then we go to March of 2017, and you're already talking longingly about him resigning. And then we go to the day that Special Counsel Mueller, well, before we go to that, that's March of 2017. March of 2016, you wrote, God, Hillary should win 100 million to 0. And I'm assuming Hillary would be former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton?
That's correct.
All right. In March of 2016, weren't you investigating her for potential mishandling of classified information?
We were,
Had you interviewed her yet?
no.
Had you interviewed more than 30 other witnesses that wound up being interviewed?
I would have to check the case file, but I'll take your representation. That's
Well, if she had said something incriminating in your interview that took place months later of her, would she have won 100 million to 0 then?
likely not, no.
Well, then why wouldn't you wait until the investigation was over before you have her the nominee and winning a general election against an opponent that hadn't even been named yet? 100 million to 0, Agent Strzok? That's how bad she should win?
Mr. Gowdy, those personal expressions of my observing the political process of the presidential primaries had no bearing on my actions of any investigation, to include the investigation of Secretary Clinton.
You couldn't think
or anybody else. Sir,
you couldn't think of a single person that would not vote for Hillary Clinton for president? 100 million to 0,
So
Agent
that was,
Strzok?
so that was clearly hyperbole, which I...
Well, let's say it was hyperbole. Let's divide it by 10. How about we say it was hyperbolic and divide it by 10? 100 million divided.
Look at his face. Just look at his face. It becomes sinister at points. How can anybody not it's preposterous. All the actions, it's typical today's world. All the actions that this man, Strzok, Peter Strzok, all the actions that he actually physically did, typed, said, thought, and we have documents of it. All of that with him saying, you know, he's going to pretty much derail Trump's campaign. So Trump's not going to become president. You can't say that if you're going to be the head over the investigation that's going after it. Because that's what this is all about. Was he more than competent, but is he biased? I mean, did he have it out for Trump from day one? So he was going to turn over every stone, and if something didn't work for the case, bypass it. You know, what about planting? You know, when you got somebody that dislikes you that much and is trying to get this guy out of office, who knows what extent they'll go to. Without the texts, he's still in deep crap. but with the texts, and he'll have you, this man Peter wants to have you believe he's completely innocent. Completely innocent. And that's why he won't answer a freaking question.
Divided by 10, I'm pretty sure it's 10
Watch
million.
that face.
0 divided by 10 is still 0. You couldn't think of a single solitary person that was going to vote for her for president before you interviewed her and while you were supposed to be investigating her.
Congressman, clearly that's not the truth. Clearly I could envision millions of Americans who are likely and did vote for then candidate.
Well, you wrote it.
My point, sir.
Did you
my
write
point,
it? Did you write that
I
text?
did write that, sir.
Okay.
In a
Were you under
expression of
duress?
Political expression engaging in hyperbole.
Were you under duress?
You can't handle the truth.
Asked and answered over and over again.
The gentlewoman will suspend. The gentleman from South Carolina controls the time.
All right, we're going to go into one other time period. May 17th, 2017. Bob Mueller is appointed. Your friend Jim Comey's been fired. He's already leaked the memos to his law professor friend, and Mueller is special counsel. Do you remember how long it took for you to start talking about impeachment after Bob Mueller was appointed?
I don't, sir.
1 day. 1 day. And you were talking about impeachment. And for anyone who may have missed it the day after his appointment, Agent Strzok, you did it again 5 days later. Now, how many interviews had you done as part of the special counsel team within the first 5 days of his appointment?
Sir, again, same answer as before. I can't get into details.
Right, and the answer is also the same. It's 0. No interviews have been done.
I don't know if that's true or not.
No interviews have been done by August the 8th when you're talking about stopping him and how terrifying it would be for him to win and how you can protect the country. And no interviews have been done before you're talking about impeachment of the president. No wonder Bob Mueller kicked you off of the investigation, Agent Strzok. My question is, if you were kicked off when you read the text, shouldn't you have been kicked off when you wrote them?
Not at all.
Well, it wasn't the discovery of your text, Mr. Strzok. It was the existence of your bias that got you kicked off.
No, Mr. Gowdy, it wasn't. I do not have bias. My personal opinions in no way.
Well, then why did you get kicked off? Why'd you get kicked off?
Mr. Gowdy, my understanding of why I was kicked off,
the Hatch
based
Act,
on understanding of those texts and the perception that they might create.
Well, hang on a second, Agent Strzok. Hang on a second. Perception. You're saying it was the perception that 13 Democrats on the special counsel probe, including one who went to what he hoped was a victory party. That's a perception problem, too. They weren't kicked off. You were. Why were you kicked off?
Mr. Gowdy, I cannot speak to Special Counsel Mueller.
How long did you talk to him?
These reasons why he did or
how long did you talk to him when he let you go?
We just answer the question.
Will be afforded the opportunity.
My recollection, it was a short meeting, somewhere between 15 to 30 minutes, probably around 15 minutes.
And your testimony is Bob Mueller did not kick you off because of the content of your text. He kicked you off because of some appearance that he was worried about.
My testimony, what you asked and what I responded to, was that he kicked me off because of my bias. I'm stating to you, it is not my understanding that he kicked me off because of any bias, that it was done based on the appearance. If you want to represent what you said accurately, I'm happy to answer that question, but I don't appreciate what was originally said being changed.
I don't give a damn what you appreciate, Agent Strzok. I don't appreciate having an FBI agent with an unprecedented level of animus working on 2 major investigations during 2016.
The chair recognizes the gentleman from Maryland, Mr. Cummings.
Mr. Chairman, can I respond?
Answer the questions that you promised him he would have an opportunity to answer. He enjoyed 15 minutes of badgering the witness. Can he be allowed now to answer as you promised, Mr.
The
Chairman?
gentleman will suspend. The witness at any time can ask for additional time to respond to any member's question if the time has been
You said you were going to give him that opportunity at the end.
I am giving him that opportunity.
Mr. Chairman, may I respond to?
Yes, you may.
Yes, you guys. Sir, I think it's important when you look at those texts that you understand the context in which they were made and the things that were going on across America. In terms of the text that we will stop it, you need to understand that that was written late at night, off the cuff, and it was in response to a series of events that included then-candidate Trump insulting the immigrant family of a fallen war hero. And my presumption, based on that horrible, disgusting behavior, that the American population...
Really? Really? Somebody else's horrible, disgusting behavior. Let's just pick up the rug and sweep the pile of your disgusting behavior all under the rug. You don't even have to be in the full know, unfortunately. I mean, eventually we're going to have to be, but to see the reactions, this man is fighting to show that he's full of dignity and should be respected, and It's a shit show, man.
Would not elect somebody demonstrating that behavior to be president of the United States. It was in no way, unequivocally, any suggestion that me, the FBI, would take any action whatsoever to improperly impact the electoral process for any candidate. So I take great offense and I take great disagreement to your assertion of what that was or wasn't. As to the 100 million to one, that was clearly a statement made in jest and using hyperbole. I, of course, recognize that millions of Americans were likely to vote for candidate Trump. I acknowledge that is absolutely their right. That is what makes our democracy such a vibrant process that it is. But to suggest somehow that we can parse down the words of shorthand textual conversations like there's some contract for a car is simply not consistent with my or most people's use of text messaging. I can assure you, Mr. Chairman, at no time in any of these texts did those personal beliefs ever enter into the realm of any action I took. Furthermore, this...
Read my lips. No new taxes. And I did not have sex relations with that woman, Monica Lewinsky. Right? Believe me, because I'm telling you. Believe me. We've been to the moon. Come on. These people are so good at lying.
This isn't just me sitting here telling you you don't have to take my word for it. At every step, at every investigative decision, there are multiple layers of people above me, the assistant director, executive assistant director, deputy director, and director of the FBI, and multiple layers of people below me, section chiefs, supervisors, unit chiefs, case agents, and analysts, all of whom were involved in all of these decisions. They would not tolerate any improper behavior in me any more than I would tolerate it in them. That is who we...
So when you text things like, I'm going to get Trump impeached, F Trump, the whole 9 yards, while you're investigating him, that's the thing. While you're investigating him. You see, it's your personal beliefs that you put on hold while you're doing the investigation. You don't put those on hold. You don't put your job on hold. That's what's going to screw him. In the end, you put your beliefs, you refrain from texting about one of the people you're trying to lock up. You don't just play it.
We are as the FBI. And the suggestion that I, in some dark chamber somewhere in the FBI, would somehow cast aside all of these procedures, all of these safeguards, and somehow be able to do this is astounding to me. It simply couldn't happen. And the proposition that that is going on, that it might occur anywhere in the FBI, deeply corrodes what the FBI is in American society, the effectiveness of their mission, and it is deeply destructive.
No, really?
Mr. Chairman, I have a motion.
Applause. Seriously? Applause. All right. So there it was. I want you to all get ready for the show, because it's begun. We're into it now, and it's going to get deeper and deeper and deeper. And I suppose you're most likely going to see Flynn take the stand, and when he does, then you discover the tech that they had. It shouldn't have been around. This whole thing is going to come unraveled. It has got to be time. It's got to be. You know, Watergate was a type of this, but this is so much bigger than Watergate. This involves so many people on so many different levels and so many different agencies. Corruption, corruption, corruption. God won't stand for it. God certainly won't stand for the mocking. And the mocking is just, it's terrible. This is all in your face, too, by the way. So, thought you'd enjoy that. We'll see you tomorrow.